Well, we're excited to start another season. We've been at practice here a couple weeks and have a scrimmage coming up, which will be really good for us. But we're at an exciting time in our program right now. We returned all 5 starters, 6 seniors, plus a 5th year in Macy Harris. Have a lot of talent on the roster, and you know, you never know from one year to the next, but I really like the mindset of this group and the experience that we've gotten through their time here. And you know, we want to double down on it, and we understand that nothing's given to us, and this group's really mature about coming in every day and working and getting better. And the exciting thing for me is I've seen growth since last year, and that's what you hope as a coach at our level with limited contact in the off season. Can your kids go work on their own? And this group certainly has done that, and we've seen a lot of improvement in a lot of individuals. And then it's a group that is really bringing our young kids along. And some days it's like we have 7 extra coaches on the floor, and that's what you want. You want a team that's player-led, and I've talked about before that if I don't show up one day, can we still function? And this group can do that. It's kind of like raising kids, right? When they're gone, or when you're gone, can they do it? And this group could do it without me, so that's a really good feeling.
You mentioned the returners. Who are some freshmen you're excited about?
Yeah, it's early, but I think locally, Grace Hennessy from Denver had a really nice high school career, and we think she's going to be really good here someday. Lauren Gollinghorst from North Scott. I finally got a North Scott kid. Been trying forever, and I know they put out quarterbacks, so
yes,
right. They get quarterbacks, but she's showing really well. She comes from a great high school program, and she's growing here in the first couple weeks, and excited about her. Finley Fitzgerald from Dallas Center Grimes won a state title in her program and really well coached. So those 3 for sure are coming along quickly, but we have others too that I think as they learn our system, they're going to fit right in.
So a lot of people, just expect you guys to dominate the conference, but obviously Loras got you twice last year. Talk about the conference race, if you would.
I think the conference, the top part of the conference is as good as it's ever been right now. I expect Loras to be great. I expect Simpson to be great. I think if you look at all the rosters, you're going to notice that it's a veteran-heavy conference right now. I think Loras returns all but 1 starter. Simpson returns all but 1 starter. Luther returns every starter. Central has most of theirs back. And you look throughout the league, and that's kind of what it is. So I expect we're not going to dominate the conference. Like, there's too many good teams. We're going to lace them up and go after it every day.
With so many returners, how has this offseason and preseason kind of been different from a coaching standpoint?
Yeah, well, so I think we had a little bit of an advantage after last season's run. We gave them a couple months off, and then we prepared for a trip to Italy. And with that, you get some practices. So we had May term where we got 10 practices, and we were able to grow in that time together. And so that was really key, I think, getting them started into the summer. And then, the challenges we presented them after last year that, hey, we've been great, but we haven't arrived. And they all understand that we've got we've got big dreams. And so this group has really taken that to heart and knows that we have to have good days every day in practice to get what we want. So, but to see my upperclassmen coach our young kids, it's pretty impressive.
You're on the road for the first 3 games, one being a weekend tournament before opening at home against Luther. What do you look to accomplish in those preseason games and then also kind of, on the road part of it?
Yeah, first games are nerve-wracking, especially for a coach. Our kids are ready to play right now. I'm going to tell you I need another month, so it's somewhere in between. We want to be who we're going to be, and so we'll have some things to figure out, but with all of our returners, I think we can hopefully hit stride pretty early. We have had some injuries, and we're going to be maybe without a couple starters, which is okay. I think that our depth is good enough that we can survive, and it might be a blessing in disguise. That's the way I try to look at all those situations, that's going to give a chance for us to put some other people on the floor and see what we can develop with some other kids on the floor. And so those are opportunities, I think, anytime you have that. But we're certainly looking forward to playing.
Morgan Scott's a young girl, didn't get to see her completely play in high school with injuries. What do you expect from her? Because obviously a lot of talent, but kind of an unknown thing coming into Wartburg last year.
Yeah, Morgan's one of the best kids you're ever going to meet, and she's had a tough go. She had back-to-back high school years where she tore ACL, so she didn't really play after her sophomore year, and she's certainly got some talent. She's had some more injuries, quite frankly, and so we're hopeful that we can get her healthy and to see what she can do. But it's been kind of a tough road for her. So we're hopeful that we can get her healthy.
You talked about you got all your starters back, and you think, or it's anywhere, along the line you kind of mentioned is anywhere, hey, this young lady's played 2, but boy, if we put her at 3, this other girl can come in and gives us a different look. Any of that do you have right in your back pocket? Or?
Well, we did that all year last year. Jaden Murphy started at our 5, but she's not a 5. I mean, she's really good inside, but her versatility is something that we love about her. Multi-dimensional. She can score inside, outside. She can put it on the floor. Brittany Young's a 3, but there were times we played her at the 4, and we're really hard to guard when we are able to do some of that stuff. Some people will say play these kids out of position, but what's great about many of our players is they're so versatile that we can utilize them in a lot of ways. We spent May tweaking some things, tinkering with some things about how to utilize our players' strengths. And that's really what we want to do, utilize their strengths. So those people that have seen us play know that we're going to get out in transition. We're going to allow our players to make plays, play with a lot of freedom. And I think it's a fun way to play. I think we're really good at it because we're athletic, we're deep, and we can shoot the 3. And when you have those 3 things, you get pretty hard to guard. And, we led the country in 3-point field goals made last year. And I don't really expect that to change. We're going to be who we are and utilize each player's strengths wherever that might be.
Yeah, and you talk about that today. I think one of the things about your team is everybody passes really well. It feels like each kid could have played point guard at their high school. Some of them have. Is positions, though, is that something that you're starting to go away with using in discussion, or is it still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your mind?
We number our kids, but it's not like the old school 1 through 5. It's more of what do you bring? What strengths do you bring, and how can we utilize those strengths? So if Jaden's playing the 5, she plays that position differently than Liv Baxter, right? Two very different players, but the way we've designed our offense is we're able to function regardless of who's in that position. We might look a little different, but our players are really good at, within the framework of what we want to do, play to their strengths. You mentioned passing, and a big part of why we pass it so well is our biggest concern is spacing. So instead of positions, like player positions, it's more position on the floor, and then play into our strengths. So we've got a lot of kids that can attack it, and that's the best thing we do. So we want them to attack it. And then if you space correctly, we're going to get scores at the rim. You know, they might get a score at the rim, they might get a dump at the rim, or we might find people on the three-point line. We love the extra pass and pass up a good shot for a great shot. And I think you can see that in our stats. We've never been a star system where one player is going to get 20 every night. Some nights you wish you had that, right? Can we throw it to somebody and they can get you a bucket? But I think we're really hard to guard because we've got a bunch of kids that could go for 20 whenever. And the great thing about them is they don't care who does it, right? As long as it's us, and it's all about being together and making the extra pass.
So 50th anniversary of women's basketball here at Wartburg. You've been here for 18 of those years.
Huh.
How have you seen maybe the game progress, just, you know, the program, or just the game in general?
The game's night and day different. You know, when I first started coaching, I was a guy that loved to shoot the three. When I started coaching, I was like, I'm all about efficiency. And back early in my career, I thought, you know, 15 threes is a lot of threes to put up on a night. There were games last year where we shot 40. And I had a friend that got a hold of me mid-year last year and said, man, you guys aren't near as efficient this year. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, your percentages are way down. And they were down a little bit, but our efficiency was up. We shot more threes than the year before. Our percentage wasn't quite as good, but we didn't turn it over as much. And, you know, so you got to look at the whole thing. Some people will say, well, you guys turn it over too much. Well, turnovers is just a number, and until you put that against how many possessions you had, it doesn't mean anything. So if we have 20 turnovers, that sounds like a lot, but not if there's over 100 possessions. So, you know, it's all about us being efficient. And right now, for us, being efficient is getting the right open threes, getting scores at the rim, and getting fouled. And we don't emphasize the mid-range very much, but we got a couple players that are really good at it, and so we're going to let them loose in the mid-range. And you saw Maggie Wilkins do that down the stretch last year, and that's a strength of hers, so we're going to use it. But for the general player out there in today's game, a mid-range shot's going to get you about 0.6 points per possession, and it's not very good.
Feel like the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.